Good morning. I'm not going to start with the usual words at the beginning of such conferences as it's a great honor and privilege for me to be here. It is, of course, but I would prefer to express at the time my gratitude and my joy to be here. First, the gratitude, of course, to the faculty of law of the University of Maribor, and especially to its dean, Professor Dr. Vesna Rijavec. And of course, I am glad to be welcomed by this marvelous late summer or early autumn sunny weather in Maribor with this fantastic views to the Drava River and the Pohorje Mountain. But the joy I would like to express is dedicated to the audience. I am a judge, and I am unfortunately used to face people, attorneys, agents, and other participants in our procedure from another perspective. And of course, they look at me, at us judges, from another perspective. But I prefer to be here as equal participant of a conference, and as a former professor at the University of Ljubljana, I miss in Luxembourg to have conferences with a lot of discussion where there is no authority imposed from our institution. Because our institution, the Court of Justice of the European Union, is a controversial institution. As somebody put it down it was Professor Arno, an English professor, in his book about the Court of Justice, the European Union and its Court of Justice. He even talks about a court situated in a fairy tale country of Grand Duchy of Luxembourg. Okay, it's not a fairy tale, it's a reality. But let me start with the topics I was asked to present. I appreciate very much the problems, discussing the problems on the diversity of enforcement titles and so on the problems which occur by applying the EU regulations concerning the international cooperation in the field of civil law. You know, of course, that our court deals very often with the interpretations, the problems of the interpretation of different EU instruments in this field. And I could speak for a day or 2 days trying to explain a little bit our case law. I'm not going to do it. I was asked by the organizer to say a few words concerning the creation of judgments of our court. Whether this is a topics which could be interesting for you, I'm not quite sure, but let us see. And of course, talking about the process of production, if I may use this word, of a judgment, is a very delicate thing. Perhaps sometimes not really necessary. I think it was Otto von Bismarck who expressed 140 years ago, sometimes in the end of the 19th century, that for a piece of law, as a law or a judgment, it is like for a sausage, better not to know what was the production process. You just have the final product and you can like it or not, but better not to see what is behind. I'm not sure it is true concerning the judgment, especially the judgments of our court, which are a little bit specific. I'm sure that you read them, and sometimes or often you do not understand very well what we wanted to do. Sincerely, it happens to me too. Even concerning the judgments where I was the judge rapporteur or president of the chamber. The reasons are more or less obvious, but I'm trying to explain to you in the limits that my judge's oath permits me, the way of coming to a final result. Of course, you may perhaps get some new information from somebody who is an insider, me having been judge at this court for 17 years. The Court of Justice is composed by a judge per member state. That means nowadays 27 judges and 11 advocate general who help the court, who write, as you know, opinions before the chamber of the court finally decides. Imagine 27 judges from 27 different countries. We have 27 different faculty of laws, which me and my colleagues visited or gone through. Then we have 24 different languages, and we work in French. In French, 27 judges, from which only one is French, is a real Francophone. Two of them perhaps are semi-Francophones, the Luxembourg and the Belgian judge, but the Belgian judge, the actual president of the court, is Flemish. The Luxembourg judge, of course, he's bilingual, but his mother tongue is Luxembourgish. So we discuss all these delicate matters in a language which is not our mother tongue. And of course, we brought to the court our habits, our legal traditions from different countries. So to get together, is a heavy task. And additionally, the court inherited the French way of drafting judgments. The French language and the French legal tradition were accepted by the court in the first years of its establishing, since 1952. 52, where the predecessor of our court was created as the court of the European coal and steel community. So judgments are very short. We have no separate opinions. The majority decides as it decides. This has a heavy impact on the wording of the judgments. They are all drafted in French. We all try, to our best knowledge, to use the French, a simplified French, of course. There are non-written rules in our court that some fine nuances of the French language are not applied. For example, as to passé simple,